All right, we're live. Boom. Round two. It's the remix, baby. Okay, we got the NFL Fantasy Today podcast. It's week one. We got the Chiefs Ravens. We got a rematch of the AFC Championship. With all the marbles in the middle. It's about as good as you can get for Thursday. We even got a crazy game in Brazil tomorrow. People aren't leaving their rooms. I don't know why they would do that. But we got Nathan Hernandez. Help me break down tonight's game, week one, all your fantasy questions. Nate, what up?
Yeah, excited to get going into Thursday. We got a good matchup on deck. Assuming there's no rust on these guys coming into the first game of the season, we should have a pretty decent matchup here. They kept it low in the championship game, but maybe guys are a little slow to react on defense in the first week. Maybe we get some more big plays.
Yeah, I think they say offenses are a little ahead of the defenses early because I guess you get a little more tired on
Mhm.
defense. You don't have the legs, right? It's always easier running away from guys and tackling. But I mean, I always get too excited. Like I've done all the research for tonight and not as much for tomorrow and Sunday. So I've listened to like 8 pods, read every
Mhm.
article. So I'm just dialed in for this. So let's try this again. So we got over under total 46.5. Do you like over under?
It's a decent line. I'd probably lean the over.
Over? Okay, I'm under. I think Ravens all the narrative off season is about, they didn't run the ball enough. They didn't run the ball. The running backs was it Edwards like 6 carries. Right, Chiefs very vulnerable to the run. They got King Henry. I think Henry's going to get 20 carries. I think time of possession in that championship game was like 42 minutes for the Chiefs. So I think the Ravens are just interested in holding on to the ball. And sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? Right, keep the Mahomes off
Mhm.
the field, grind them down maybe in the fourth quarter. And Henry historically kills the Chiefs. I told you, I'm prepped. I'm ready to rock. Okay, cheat game. We got Chiefs by 3. Do you like the Ravens, Chiefs?
I like the Chiefs. I like the
Okay.
Ravens having like efficient drives, and the Chiefs having to play catch up a lot because they not catch up necessarily, but trying to establish themselves in a against the Ravens offense that's going to try and slog the time a bit. So I could see them trying to kind of grab control in that way instead of trying to fight fire with
Okay.
fire.
Okay. And I don't. I asked this earlier in our run through soft launch, but I don't even know if it makes that much sense. But let's say you can only start 3 players for fantasy. Who you start?
Yeah, I think I'd probably go lean all Chiefs and go Mahomes, Kelsey, Rice.
Oh wow!
Kelsey is
All
notorious
Chiefs.
for. I mean, he's. I, I just think that it'll be more. What's it called? More concentrated in that offense, and I think the Ravens will involve a few guys when it comes to throwing the ball, and Lamar's going to get his. If I'm picking one at each position, I'm going to say I'll take each of the Chiefs variants.
Okay. Yeah. Chiefs at home, Super Bowl
I
winner.
would
I mean,
probably
it's
take
hard to hate on that.
I would take Henry over Pacheco in a one-on-one, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I'm leaning all Chiefs.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, I've been leaning Ravens, so hopefully I'm right and you're wrong. But cool. Okay. So we'll stay in this game for a bit. So a couple props I like. I got Henry anytime to score a touchdown. You like that? How could you not? Right.
Yeah, I think he falls in once, but and I think that's how he ends up because he kind of has to at this stage of his career to be a good running back. I feel like he's not going to get any receiving volume, especially in this
No.
offense. Um,
No.
so it's gonna just be grinded yards and hoping he falls in the end zone once or twice, and I think he gets there.
Yeah. I think 20 plus carries. I think they're going to be like doing that RPO with Jackson. He holds it, and the defender. What do you do? Do you bite on Lamar, the best running back ever, or Henry, the biggest freak of nature ever? Right. And I think
Yeah,
I think you probably got to play Lamar and let Henry try and rumble forward for 4 yards rather than let get Lamar out there. But it's a lose situation, right? Anyone you're not starting, let's go fantasy. Anyone you're not starting this game, like Xavier Worthy, right? Let's say 3 wide receiver
yeah.
league. He's
I'm in a predicament with him myself. I don't know if I want to take the wait and see approach with him because the Chiefs kind of they worked in Rice a lot slower. They were playing like I want to say Justin Watson and Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore were getting routes over him early in the year. Worthy
So
has shined in camp. They've talked him up a lot. But if you don't have to start him tonight, I wouldn't. Um, uh, like, would you? The question I have is him or Tajay Spears in a full PPR league.
Tajay Spears, full PPR. I mean, I don't think Worthy's even going to get 4 grabs, right? If he does, he's going to get 2 for 60, right? But I wouldn't
Mhm.
start him. Like rookie wide receiver. I mean, I love the Ravens secondary. I think Kyle Hamilton's the best player no one talks about, right? Marlon Humphrey's healthy. They have Marcus Williams. Maybe he sneaks behind him, but I mean, I guess if they're going the 2 wide receiver set, it'll be Worthy with Hollywood out. But maybe I feel like they're only going to play him on pass plays, right? Because he's so small, you don't want him run
Mhm.
blocking. So I think his snap share is going to be
Yeah.
down, but I know his target share is high in the preseason with Mahomes, it's like 28%. But I'm just not Worthy. I would bench. I think he's magic beans, and it's like you don't need them to grow right away. Let somebody
Yeah.
let it plant them and then see what you got, right? Because he might go 2 targets, 0 catches, and it's like okay, now I know not to play him until he comes through, right? And if he goes 4 catches,
Yeah.
86 yards and a touchdown, it's like okay, well, you missed week 1, but now you get the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Okay.
exactly it.
Turn my sound down a little again. Okay, 92. Okay, what else we got? Okay, fantasy. What are the tough questions here? Obviously, Pacheco's a must start, right? Ravens weren't that good against the run. What about Samaje Perine, right? That's the big threat, right? He's going to come in and pass catching downs, right? So then maybe now inside the 10, red zone. Is he going to take that Jerick McKinnon role, right? McKinnon scored what, like 10 TDs 2 years ago, all from like receiving
Yeah.
touchdowns, right? Do you have any Pacheco stock?
Hmm. I do. I have him in one league. And I'm still like I'm still starting him with confidence. I think he's going to get catches. He just won't be that featured pass catching back that we were hoping would like take him into that next tier. Especially in an offense as spring loaded as the Chiefs to do anything any given week. The opportunities are going to be there, but it's kind of in that we don't really know how much P Ryan's going to do right away, especially.
Yeah, probably not that much right away, right? You got to learn the playbook, get reps, get some chemistry, at least practice a bit. But it's a big threat, though, right? Because
Mhm.
Clyde Edwards is out with PTSD or something. The other guy is rookie who looked good preseason, but who knows, right? Um, but yeah, no, that's definitely a threat. So Pacheco, if it's a PPR league, I'd be worried. Oh, I'd still be worried anyways because they like to throw inside the 10, right? Mahomes loves to just do his little
Mhm.
rollouts, his little, I think that is a big threat to Pacheco's ceiling, but his floor is definitely going to be safe. Okay, moving on.
Mhm.
So we got Worthy. Obviously, Kelsey's a must start, even though I'd be worried about him long rest of season, even week 1. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. Like, was he at OTAs? Has he been practicing hard? Who keeps switching that? Okay, Ravens. What about Zay Flowers? Talk to me. What's he? If you're in a 2 wide receiver league, right? Are you
Mhm.
starting him?
Yeah. I'm probably not. It like just to like I would take Rice over him 1-on-1. And
Nice, good comparison.
um and I think like he's like he's kind of like a hit or miss guy, and I don't know if I want to put my eggs in that basket in this matchup when they're expected to, it's Derrick Henry's debut game on the team. They're going to want to feed him, especially if they have control of
Yeah.
the pace of the game. Um,
Okay. Okay.
but
This we could have just called this pod. Watch me and Nate disagree. I think
yeah.
Flowers. I think Flowers is gonna be a monster. I think he had 110 in the AFC Championship game. I think he's been thinking about that fumble all season that kind of almost cost him the game. Chiefs lost Lavarius
Mhm.
Sneed. Right, he was their top corner. Right, they're moving probably Trent McDuffie there, who's more better in the slot. Flowers is a burner. Rashad Bateman's not a real deal, right? Mark Andrews is in that car accident, but he's probably fine. So I think Flowers going to get a lot of targets. I think he's a beast. I don't know why people are fading him. He's my number one, number two, maybe behind JSN, second year wide receiver, blow up guy. So big Flowers guy. I didn't get him in fantasy, unfortunately, but okay. So, but you got Rice over Flowers. Okay, okay. I think we almost got this game covered. Any surprise fantasy guys? Like let's say your deep league. We got that SportsEthos 16 team league. Anyone you're starting outside of the solar
In
system?
this game specifically, like I would consider like Justice Hill this late if like there are teams that drafted a Jonathan Brooks early and they might need someone that could get some pass catching work. Like it's not the best bet, but if you want someone who's going to get snaps, I think that Justice Hill will be there for in what could shake up to be a high scoring shootout. Any game versus the Chiefs can go that way, and if you want someone to get receiving work in a PPR league, half PPR, there's not many options there that late that would be, you know, getting guaranteed snaps.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think we'll probably come back to this game because I have so many bets on this game. FanDuel's offering crazy
Mhm.
stuff. We need a FanDuel promotion. That's what we need. But okay, let's go. Let's kick it off. Let's power run through week one, right? We'll talk about fantasy guys we like, we don't like, and like how schedule heavy are you? Like let's. I don't want to move. Okay, I'm gonna move right to it. So let's say we got like Tyreek, right? Cleveland. We got the Cavs. Wow, Browns, Cowboys, right? Cowboys pretty much just gonna be CD
Mhm.
Lamb reliant, right? Little Ferguson, but the Browns at home
Mhm.
against wide receivers, where I think we're number one in the league, right? There's no world in which you bench
Mhm.
CD Lamb, right?
Yeah. I would you're playing CeeDee Lamb no matter what. I would bench Dak Prescott maybe if you started him, if you grabbed him to be a starter. There are guys out there, or hopefully you drafted someone to back him up for this scenario. But this is a matchup that, even though it's week one, consider benching someone you drafted to be your starter.
Okay, okay. So you will go to the matchup. It's not just play my guys and hope for the best. No, I'm like that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Friday. Friday's kind of a nice banger too, right? We got Green Bay, Philly. I guess it's not in Philly, in Brazil. Has anyone seen the field? It's grass? Is it real grass? Is it turf? Is
I,
it Brazilian grass? Has it been cut? Like, is it flooded?
I have not.
Like, are there bullets in it? Like, I have no idea. But talk to me about that game. Who do we like for? And top three for fantasy. Who are you taking?
Hmm.
This is my new game.
Okay. Man. It gets me thinking though, for sure. I was, as much as I wanted to be out on Josh Jacobs, given like Dylan being having a stinger and he's done for the or his second stinger, he's done for the year. Marshawn Lloyd is working his way back and he's number 2 on the depth chart. They could just give Jacobs literally as many snaps and carries as he wants, and the offense is going to move the ball up and down the field. I think they can hit you at every level in the passing game. Um, this is another like one that could go either way. It could be a grinder on the ground, or if the lid comes off, both teams could just end up with 30 plus points. Um,
Okay, 30
I,
plus. Okay.
um, I'm probably still taking Saquon over Jacobs in a one-on-one. I'm taking Hurts
Oh yeah.
over Love in a one-on-one. Um, Receivers, the Packers guys, it's too congested to really know at this point who's going to be Love's guy. I think um, he may not have a guy. It could be a mixed bag again, and uh, for that reason, AJ Brown is easily the best start. I'd maybe even start Devontae Smith over any of the Packers guys.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Um,
So you're saying Jordan Love's a
um,
communist, right? He's not going to pick. He's not going to pick one. Just spread it out. 20% target share across
yeah,
four wide receivers.
I'm all in on Love, but I don't know if I could pick. Like I would always take the cheapest Packers receiver in drafts, which would end up being Dontavian
Dontavian.
Wicks.
Yeah.
And he's more of a stash candidate anyway. I think his snaps will be low to start the year. I don't think they'll probably mix him in more as the season goes on, or if an injury goes down to any of those guys, he could play seemingly any role on the field. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true.
but
See, I
um,
watch John and Nate disagree. I think Christian Watson is the wide receiver one. I think he's a super stud. He was my must draft guy in all of fantasy. He got the hamstrings figured out. He's a touchdown monster. When he's on the field, his loves him. I just think he's the full package, and he's getting drafted at like 80th, right? In this high stake league, I had to take him 63rd because I was afraid he wouldn't come back. I will be betting smashing Watson. I will be betting his anytime touchdown, longest reception, over on yards. Even though the Eagles secondary probably did get a little better, they drafted. They brought back Avonte Maddox. They drafted. I forget what the guy's name in the first round. Then Cooper DeJean in the second. Even though Cooper's probably not that good, but the first round, so the secondary is going to be improved. But yeah, who knows, right? Maybe they double Watson, leaves Reed open under the middle. Gadget plays for Dobbs. Nobody knows, right? Wicks could lead the team in targets tomorrow, and it would shock me a little bit.
And they
then
have two
Eagles.
tight ends that
Yeah.
the you were saying? Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Luke Musgrave, and I always forget the other tight end.
Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft. Okay, yeah, classic name. But yeah, I don't think anyone's starting them in fantasy, right? Unless it's like a 16-team, 2 tight end league. But Eagles, right? So what did they do? They brought in Kellen Moore to run the offense. And then did Fangio to run the defense?
That sounds right.
Yeah, right. So, all right, just like the Ravens, they got their shiny new toy. They paid Saquon. If you were going to bet any Saquon prop tomorrow, right? Let's say we got rushing yards, receiving yards, score a touchdown. Where are you going?
Probably rushing yards.
Okay.
I think that this is the best back that's going to be able to take advantage of the threat that Jalen Hurts poses as a runner. It's kind of going back to Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Pick your poison. There's no stronger poison out of the Eagles' backfield since Hurts has been there with Barkley added here. I think that there's going to just be lanes wide open. I would even consider rushing and receiving prop if you don't want to, pick and shoot or lean into the run. But Hurts isn't the most. He doesn't favor throwing running backs as much as other quarterbacks. But it's like they're going to put the ball in his hands. He could take a screen to the house, and you don't want to be out on that, I don't think.
Yeah, the classic rushing receiving prop, right? It's like when you're getting pizza, you get the bacon cheeseburger pizza when you don't want to choose, right? But so the book on Hurts is right. The zero blitz, right? They just send everyone. He doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do, but it seems like somebody's open. But I get it. They kind of do a zero blitz in the zone. You don't have time to to fake make a read. But I would think maybe you can plan around that and screen, right? Zero blitz, screen to Barkley, and it's over, right? So I'm going to be banking on that. And Packers finally got a new defensive coordinator, right? Joe Barry's gone, thank God, the worst DC in the league. So they got a lot of talent. That's going to be a fun game. But let's keep it moving. Okay, let's go to Sunday. We got my favorite game of the week. We got Arizona at Buffalo, right? Yeah, Arizona at Buffalo. Oh, for some reason I thought it was in Arizona. But so Buffalo's probably 8.5-point favorite. Zona's got maybe the worst D in the league. Josh Allen's got all new weapons. My game. You can start 3 players. Who you start?
Yeah. I talked about my rankings, but as much as I wanted to be out on James Cook, he's there's no better matchup for anybody than James Cook this week. The Cardinals allowed the most fantasy points to running backs last year. They allowed the most receiving yards and receiving touchdowns to running backs last year, which is where James Cook does his dirty work. If he's going to score, it's in the passing game. And so I'm a big sell high after week 1 on James Cook. If he could be the RB1 this week, and it wouldn't surprise me. And I would sell high on him personally because I don't think that the profile will be there to be a consistent producer that high atop the rankings. but you should be excited to have him this week for sure.
I am excited. I have him a couple times, and you just got me even more excited. I almost went. I was like, I gotta go bet his rushing receiving right now. So that's the bet. James Cook rushing receiving yards. It's probably 100.
Yeah,
but
I think
who cares? Just ignore the number and just smash it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the sky's the limit this week.
Okay. So we're starting James Cook. Who else we start? I actually love this game. I don't know why.
Yeah. I think this one could be great. Josh Allen and Kyler could both have big games. I think like Kyler's probably going to be chucking it a lot and using his wheels, whereas Allen may have a harder time finding passing volume to boot. But it's Josh Allen. You're starting him in hopes to be the QB1 with rushing and passing upside. He's got touchdown upside like no other at the QB position as far as running goes. Yeah, I'll go Josh Allen there for sure.
Okay.
But I could see a world where Kyler Murray just goes nuts in attempts to keep pace with the Bills. But I'll lean Allen. But receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr. is
my guy.
Locked and loaded.
Okay, but the tough one, tight end. We know Marvin here. We know we're starting.
That's
right.
Yeah, this is a good question. I probably like McBride's ceiling a lot more, whereas Kincaid's probably guaranteed to get his as the top target. But I just think that the passing game in Arizona will have more upside because defense are going to be too worried about Marvin Harrison Jr. taking the lid off, and McBride's is going to be open for 15-yard gains pretty much anytime Kyler wants.
Sure, yeah, especially with Matt Milano out. Yeah, I like that. Okay, but so Bills wide receivers, I'm big on Khalil Shakir, right? I don't know why people are sleeping on him. Would you start him as your wide receiver 3 this week? Like, let's say Shakir over, let's say Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett, those 3.
Yeah, if you're getting into that range, I would definitely start to consider Shakir because Lockett's not going to be the top option there. Deontay will be, but he's got virtually no scoring upside. I don't think. That Carolina offense scares me so bad because I don't really know how, are they really going to take a step this year, or are they just going to be that bad as bad as last year with new faces? I could easily talk myself into Shakir over Deontay, but the talent will probably attract me to Deontay in a week 1 spot. But it's a toss-up. If you want upside, I'd take Shakir to score. But if you want a guaranteed point total, I'd play Deontay.
Okay, cool. So Andre's just letting me know. I said this earlier, Christian McCaffrey, right? Limited in practice, calf Achilles issues. I'd have to check in to see how serious it is, but I don't know. Do you really trust anything? They play the Monday nighter. I do worry about the Jets beating the crap out of him. But at least it's in San Fran. It's at home. Yeah, I guess the main takeaway, obviously, you start Christian McCaffrey even if he has one leg. But Jordan Mason, the backup, if he was on the wire, you pick him up right now, right?
Yeah, no doubt. McCaffrey's playing in this game. If you see him get something like a 60% snap share versus a typical 90 or whatever it is, I wouldn't be surprised. But he should be on the field. He should get enough touches to return. All he needs is 15 times with the ball in his hand, and he's good to go.
Yep.
But yeah, Jordan Mason. Yeah, Mason is one of those guys, like he's a Niners backup running back. All he has to do is come in and hold on to the football, and he's going to sleepwalk his way into points if he ends up as a starter.
That's true. That's true.
So that nature alone should make him a must-add.
I don't want to go too hard into that Monday because Monday night game. Maybe we'll just bounce around. Who cares? But this Brandon Ayuk we were talking before about, right? Obviously, you're not benching CD, but you got Ayuk getting sauced, right? Was that 2 wide receiver league? Any chance you're benching Ayuk?
There's definitely a chance, like because there's the off-season scare, or like the scare of him not practicing all off-season. He could be a little slower. There's even like the Sauce Gardner matchup is enough to make that a real scare. Like if it was anybody else, you'd kind of just wash away any offseason thought with the draft pick that high. But you could definitely, if you drafted a couple early receivers instead, just based on how the draft boards fall, I would consider depending on your options. If you have anyone for me,
I do. Rashee Rice.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, I would play Rice over Ayuk week 1.
Rice over Ayuk. Okay. So you're obviously doing him over Flowers. Let's go Amari Cooper.
That's close, but I might lean yes on that.
Okay.
But I'd have to do a deep dive into the matchups, but
of course. Okay, we're moving to the next Sunday game because I was just thinking of another wide receiver. My other guy, George Pickens. Quickly, George Pickens or Brandon Ayuk?
Ooh, man, I'm so out on Pickens too. Much like Anthony. Dude, I mean, to be fair, Russell Wilson throwing to Cortland Sutton last year wasn't the worst in the world. If the volume will be there, the targets will be there, will the receptions be there? I don't know, or I don't know to what extent. But he's going to have his opportunities, albeit maybe the least valuable targets in the league, being from Russell Wilson in a Steelers run-heavy offense. But I'd probably lean Ayuk there, just because it would go against everything I've believed in this offseason.
Well, Pickens, again, Pickens was one of my guys. I love Pickens. I think he could have a true breakout. He just needs the target share, right? He's a monster. He's kind of got some issues, but just size, speed, hands, width, all the metrics. I love him. But so Russell Wilson today, limited with a calf issue. And first off, everyone loves to clown Wilson, and I love to clown him too. He used to be my favorite, but he had like 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year. He had an elite season on paper, but if you watched it, you watched him getting sacked, throwing the ball away, and ending drives. But so Russell Wilson calf issues. Do you go take Justin Fields? You just keep him on the bench. Do you go stash him?
Yeah, Justin Fields is a guy that I would definitely stash in leagues of like 14 or higher, or maybe 16. Just the upside that he brings if he becomes a starter. Like he's got a good offensive line to run behind, and his rushing is a ceiling unlike any other for a guy that's just on the wire. You can go pick up a Raiders quarterback that's on the wire, and you'll start neither of them all year. But Fields, if he's playing, he could be a QB1. No other guy on the wire can do that.
That's true. Probably not. Well, I think a couple guys could, but not. Would be a stretch. I still like Sam Howell in Seattle. But anyway, so we got Pittsburgh, Atlanta. We got the rebirth of Atlanta. Are you in Atlanta, right? Bijan went early, like top 3 in some leagues. Drake was going top 20. Pitts again. He's got I think a hammy issue. right? Everyone's. It just feels like Groundhog Day, right? It's another year. Everyone's back in Atlanta. You buying? You selling?
I'm in on Bijan. I'm out on the pass catchers. Especially at that price. I just, as much as the excitement that the volume Kirk Cousins would bring to that offense, there are just guys going in that range of drafts that I would take a lot more comfortably than Drake London. And I was so out on Kyle Pitts before the injury. I'm just not there. I've done I had the experience in year 2. Didn't bite on year 3, and I'm standing firm on that. Especially with the hamstring tightness, that can be so tricky.
Yeah.
That's something that could nag, and for a guy who already has trouble producing when he's on the field, it's just to be going as the tight end 6 or 7 like that is crazy to me.
Yep. Okay, let's go a little power. We just linger. I like to linger. So we'll move on. We got Tennessee. We got Tennessee, the Bears. We got Caleb Williams debut. We got a lot of new faces in Tennessee. Looks like DeAndre Hopkins is trending towards playing. Are you starting Hopkins? Let's say 3 wide receiver league, 12 teams.
You can. I would probably not. Especially, I think he'll get eased in, if anything. You could see. I think Ridley's going to get the lion's share of targets. They've got 2 running backs that they want to heavily involve. I would stand pat on Hopkins and just see how he does in week 1.
Okay, and then Bears, we got the 3-headed Hydra, right? We got DJ Moore, we got Rome Odunze, and we got Keelan Allen. Is he fat or is he not? I don't know if anyone knows. How would you with draft capital involved? How would you want all those 3 for fantasy?
I love DJ Moore, and Keelan Allen and Rome Odunze are like a toss-up to me. I think Allen is the guy to start the season. I think Odunze overtakes him halfway. If you have Allen now, I wouldn't I'd stash Odunze if you have him. He could get, he can get fantasy value early, and you don't want to miss that. I don't think. So I would. It's just a matter of time before Odunze becomes that second guy in the offense.
Right, could be sooner rather than later. All right, our guy Chris Rossi chimes in. Right, McBride Kincaid. Right, it is great. But he's going to lean Shakir. So he'd lean Shakir too, but Deontay and PPR might make him safer. That's probably a good point. I think some people have been really hyping Deontay Johnson, but for me, it's a little prove it. I mean, but O-line's a little better. West Coast offense, a little more weapons. But, Xavier Leggett might be good too. But for me, it's just if it's a wide receiver toss up, okay, let me look at the QBs, right? Oh, Josh Allen versus Bryce Young. Thank you. But I think I saw Matt Berry said Deontay Johnson could be top 12 wide receiver for PPR, right? So, people have been loving him all summer. Me, not so much because I like the quarterbacks. But yeah, McBride Kincaid is just going to be. I'm just going to bet both tight ends. I'm just going to. I just can't wait for that game. Okay, moving on. Boom. We got Pats Bengals. Jamar Chase. And thanks. Oh yeah. Also, thank you, Chris, for the comment. We love comments because gives us something else to talk about. But we got a lot of football, so realistically, I could go forever. So we got the big Pats Bengals. In the defense article rankings, Brandon Furtado ranked the Cincinnati Bengals as the #1 defense to roster this week, which shocked and awed me. But when I pressed him, he was like, well, they got no O-line. Bengals are going to run right through them. They got no QB. They got no wide receivers. So it's like, okay, good point. Would you play the Bengals like right now? Would you they're available? Would you pick them up and play them?
I love to hear that because I have the Bengals in like 7 home leagues, and
Really?
Yeah, I have been pushing defense off to the last pick, if that, and then I just grabbed the Bengals because for the same exact points that Chris was making. You know, the I want to say the Pats have the lowest implied team total of the week was 16, which is crazy. Um, they're just they're not going to move the ball. Jacoby Brissett's passing line is like 200. I would take the under on that in a heartbeat. Um,
Probably not even that high. It's got to be
it
lower. I think it's got to be
uh,
185.
it was 200 on underdog.
Okay, I haven't looked. I'm
And
just guessing. You
I,
said docked is
yeah,
200.
yeah,
Okay.
I love that. Uh, thank you for praising them so highly, Brandon. I appreciate that a lot.
And then otherwise, obviously, Jamar Chase doesn't matter if he's active Sunday, no contract, no practice, no nothing. He's in the roster. Even though Christian Gonzalez and the Pats, solid corner. Pats are historically good at shutting down the number one guy, make you play left-handed, but whatever. Jamar Chase all the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on. We got a sneaky best game of the week, right? We got Houston. We got the Texans, Colts. I think the Colts have not have covered one game in their last 15 openers, so they are just if you're sharp, you fade them week one and you just count your money. But we got C.J. Stroud, everyone's favorite darling, Anthony Richardson, everyone's favorite fantasy points per quarter player in history. Top three. Give me your top three fantasy guys.
Yeah, this is another where one-sided affair. Oh no, I would take Jonathan Taylor over Joe Mixon. Let me backtrack that a little bit. But I'm all on the Texans passing game this week specifically. I don't have the source with me. I'm sorry, but someone floated like Indy running. I want to say it was like cover one or cover three more than any other team in the league last year, and no one was better against that pass protection or pass defense than Stroud and Nico Collins at their respective positions.
That's the kind of
They're
stat when you see it and you go, "Oh my god, let me write this down." And just that's like C.J. Stroud, no matter what, right? It's like
mhm.
you just convinced me. That's all I need. Yeah, it's gonna be it's lights out. Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
it should be
Okay,
Swiss cheese.
a QB though. Who you starting? You starting
I
C.J.?
I'm starting Stroud for sure. Like I know the rushing upside is there for Richardson, but this week, in Stroud could throw for 450 any given game, and there's no better matchup for him than right in front of him.
450.
He's
Okay.
got, uh, I don't know, man. It just feels like I don't know, too good to be true almost, but I'm just riding with it. Stroud
Sorry, we
should
got
blow up.
another three-headed wide receiver monster here, right? We got Nico, we got Stephon Diggs, and then we got Tank Dell, right? At draft
Mhm.
capital. Where are you going?
Yeah, Nico, I'm starting for sure. I think he's the alpha of this team. I think Diggs and Tank Dell kind of take turns being the complimentary back. They'll have or complimentary wideout. Uh, you know, I think Dell will have the explosive games. Diggs may be a more consistent PPR option. But I'm comfortable starting any of them any given week, just for the upside that Stroud brings to being their quarterback.
So Lick and Squeeze says banger. I guess that's our first troll or maybe a bot. Either way. Okay. So what do we got? Boom, boom. We're into Houston. Okay, we got Jags, Miami. We got potential hurricane, monsoon, tropical storms. If so, that this is. Oh, where's Larry? Where's my weather guy? I got to check his article. So let's say 80% rain. We got 30-mile-per-hour winds, right? Are you benching? Like Trevor Lawrence, you got to bench him, right?
Yeah, luckily most people weren't drafting Trevor Lawrence as a QB1 unless you were taking him as a punt QB quarterback. So hopefully you have another option. If not, it's the same deal. Get someone in a more safer environment. Um, I'd probably still play Evan Ingram out of that
Yeah.
offense just because I think his stuff will be close to the line of scrimmage. everyone else will be a little harder to get the ball into their hands. Maybe Tank Bigsby has some upside here if they pound the rock a lot and they need to give ETN a break. Same deal in Miami. Maybe Jalen Wright gets mixed in a bit sooner than we thought because they need to pound the ball a little more.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. Okay. But let's back to our game. So we got Rain, right? You got Christian Kirk. So are you playing Christian Kirk or Khalil Shakir?
Ooh, you'd have to see how bad it is come
It's
kickoff.
bad. It's bad. It's
But
raining. It's ugly.
it
You know.
it's bad. Then probably Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into historic numbers on how teams do or receivers do in that weather, but yeah, that if you're giving me that scenario alone, I'll lean Shakir.
Well, remember Lincoln Spears is actually not a troll. Kirk for sure. Okay, but so I remember week 1 last year, right? We had Browns Bengals. I remember I had this huge parlay. All I needed was Amari Cooper yards, and then it just was sideways wind and rain the whole game. And the Bengals or Brown? I forget who. No, Bengals got blown out. Browns didn't need to throw, and it was a mess. So I've been burned too many times by the weather. So when I see the weather turns, I am out. But lick and squeeze is Kirk for sure. Okay, well that's definitive as we're gonna get. Okay, moving on. Even though we barely talked about the game, but we're almost 50 minutes. We gotta go. We got to go. All right, Carolina, New Orleans. We already talked about Carolina a little bit, so let's go New Orleans. Right, we got Kamara, Olave. Where's he for you in your wide receiver? Kind of ether.
Probably in the 2 range. I don't see him as kind of that fringe wide receiver 1 that he was being drafted as, but I think he'll be a solid wide receiver 2 when he's on the field. I question the the efficiency of his targets when it comes to scoring opportunities in that offense. Yeah, I'd probably have him I'd probably start Rashee Rice over him if you want to use that as the bar.
Okay.
But
Rashee Rice is the bar.
but yeah, I think he should be a solid wide receiver too. I think he's got a high floor, but the ceiling is going to be varied by week.
I can't believe I have to kick it back to lick and squeeze. This is what the world's come to. But lick and squeeze, Xavier Worthy start tonight. We covered it early. I would not start him. I need to see it prove it first. I think the Ravens secondary is elite. I don't see anyone getting over the top of Kyle Hamilton. I think his snap share is going to be low. But if he gets 3 targets, catches one of them, that could be 40 yards. It's not even boom or bust. It's like duck bust or duck goose. Like he's more likely to bust than break out. But you're on the same boat, right?
Yeah. I'm with the wait and see approach on Worthy. Hopefully, there are other guys that you could play over him. If you're in a pinch, sure, but I would wait and see.
Yeah, all right. They got Cincy next week. That's a much more vulnerable secondary. That's the kind of that's where I'll plant some magic beans, let them grow. But yeah, Worthy. I maybe 16 team, 3 wide receiver league. Maybe I'm starting Worthy, but otherwise I'm going out of my way not to. Still on week 1, week 2 there. Okay. So we were on New Orleans. So Taysom Hill is kind of like the turd in the fantasy punch bowl, right? Because he might. He might be the goal line running back. He might throw. He's such a gadget player, right? So, are you starting Taysom Hill tight end? Let's say 14-team league, like over any of the top 6, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Top 6, 7. I should have waited a second. My fault. But in a 14-team league, I think someone should start. Someone should start Taysom Hill.
Yeah. Okay. But let's.
I think that if you want me to place him, I'd probably put him close to like the 12, 13 range.
Okay.
I think that he's gonna. I feel like he's good for like 4 or 5 points a game, and then if he falls in the end zone, like there are tight ends in that range that will just straight up goose your lineup, and Taysom Hill's never going to do that. And he's going to get red zone rushing opportunities, which is completely unbeknownst to any other tight end. there's just so many ways that he can get involved, and that value alone is kind of unparalleled to the tight end position.
Okay, we're gonna go 10. We'll go 10 more minutes, right? We got Chris feeding off lick and squeeze. I'm gonna lose it. But so right, great question. Worthy versus Zamir as a flex tonight. I know the tendency is you just want to get some guys in, right? Because it's week 1. You just want action on the field. But like, I think that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like Zamir White, right? They're going against the Chargers. Chargers, right? They gave up 300 rushing yards last year in week 1. I don't think the rush D's got much better. And Zamir White's going to be a sneaky bell cow. I would just love that my running backs are so deep that I don't have to play Zamir White. But yeah, I mean, if if it's a low stakes league or you just want some action, sure, play Worthy and hope for a flyer. But I mean, I think Zamir White's a lock to give you probably 12 fantasy points. Who could go up to 20? First game FOMO, Chris. I know what you're talking. I know. We all know. That's why I got 12 bets already. Okay, let's we got to keep powering through. What do we got? Okay, let's just go to Vegas Chargers. Let's talk about it. Right? Give me your three start fantasy. This one's tough.
Man, it's I've kind of turned a blind eye to my Raiders now that I've spent so much time studying the rest of the league. But I think that the Raiders I think they're going to be pretty good on defense, and they're going to want there are going to be times where they should have the game in control. They're going to be able to run. I like Zamir White. I'm more in the wait and see boat on Zamir White just because I don't know how featured he's going to be. I think that him being like an elite featured running back is well in the realm of possibilities. I think this team's going to want to run the football. I think that's going to be their identity. I like the Raiders in this one. I think the point total stays low. That's where I'd go.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? The Raiders are good. Nobody wants to say it. They're not bad. They added Christian Wilkins. The D-line's going to be great. The secondary can be a little hit or miss, but sometimes they patch it together. The O-line's much improved, right? You got 2 wide receivers. You got 2 tight ends, right? I mean, Gardner Minshew's the best backup QB and a low-end starter. I think the Raiders are sneaky, and I think they're going to be in games. I think they're going to want to mess it up, slow it down, get in the trenches, and that means running Zamir White. So I'm stoked. I got him in the league. I'm starting him. I'm excited about it, and I got a little Raiders mania, and then Chargers. So Chargers, wide receiver room, whatever. If you like Ladd McConkey, Josh Palmer might be okay, but running backs. This is a dilemma I'm having, right? What are you doing? Are you starting Gus Edwards or are you starting J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, I'm on the wait and see side of J.K. Dobbins. I think Edwards will be heavily featured. I think that at least to start the season, Edwards will just be kind of maybe not in a snap share, but in a carry split. I think that Edwards will get something close to 70% of the carries out of the backfield.
70-30. Okay. That's okay.
I think Dobbins could pass catch a bit better than Edwards could. Edwards offered almost no receiving upside in Baltimore, but he ran for 13 touchdowns. And this team's going to run heavy again, or this team's going to run heavy like Greg Roman did in Baltimore. I think that they could end up maybe using Justin Herbert to throw more in the red zone than like Lamar Jackson would. So I think that maybe the scoring opportunities may be a little less frequent for Edwards, but he's going to get a lot of opportunities. I start him close to the end of the RB2s, but I'm out on Dobbins to start the year.
Okay, yeah, I'm benching him too. Okay. These afternoon games really aren't doing it for me, right? So we got the Chargers is kind of a whole team wait and see, right? Are they really going to run at like a 60% clip, right? It's probably maybe 55%. who's Herbert going to throw to, right? Is Herbert, how healthy is he? How good's the O-line? Is the defense going to hold up? I like having Chargers guys because they're all undervalued, but I'm not starting any of them this week. But anyway, so Denver, Seattle. I hate Denver, anti-Denver, but Seattle, I think, super, super, super sneaky. I mean, I'm not even going to play the fantasy game because it's going to be all Seattle guys. But talk to me in the wide receiver room, right? DK, JSN, Lockett.
DK should smash. Not necessarily in this lineup. I don't know. The Patrick Surtain matchup might throw a wrench in things.
It's like Hulk versus Superman.
Yeah. I think that JSN is one of my favorite Year 2 guys as well. I think I don't know how fast it'll be, but I think once he gets like locked in as a starter, it should just be like a consistent, wide receiver 2 option for fantasy purposes. But Lockett is allegedly healthy. I think he'll be on the field, and that may stop JSN from getting there right away. But I like him a lot.
Yeah, I'm on the start JSN this week. Like, let's say hurricane in Florida. Like I think there's another bad weather too. Tail of the Tampa game, right? But so let's say hurricane, JSN or Waddle. Who are you starting? Whoa.
I worry about like a bubble screen for Waddle taken to the house, but if that's what you're out on, maybe you're comfortable with that. JSN could easily just be the top target, especially this week if Metcalf draws top coverage. JSN could just end up being the go-to guy if he's blanketed.
Okay, yeah. We do need Larry on the show, Andre, especially early September. Crazy Florida, right? And also, sometimes the hurricane could roll in and then roll out, right? And it's just like the second half is just beautiful sunny. Okay, let's keep going. All right, we got Dallas, Cleveland. We talked about it a bit, right? What do you do? You said bench Dak. CD's the only guy you're really playing other than Ferguson, but like, are you terrified fantasy wise? Like let's say you're going into San Fran, you're going into Baltimore, going into Cleveland. Are you looking for a reason not to start your guys? Or are you just saying, it's going to be tough. I'll just ride it out because your floor is probably assured, but you're just there's no ceiling.
Yeah, I feel like the floor for like like receivers can still have a decent game if they don't find the end zone. If a quarterback's not finding the end zone, it's hard for him to compare to other quarterbacks. So that's why I think the stud receivers are a safe play no matter what.
That's true. Dak could go
because the offense has
230
to. Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly.
I would say Dak could go for
230
yards and touchdown, but then CD goes for 70 with 6 catches, PPR, he still gets 13 points, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if he catches that touchdown, he's he's still good. Yeah,
he's banging.
Great.
Okay, Dallas clean. Okay, so we got 3 games left. We got 5. We're gonna say 5 minutes. 3 games, 5 minutes. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. So we got Washington, Tampa. The only real question is Jade Daniels, right? Like, are you starting him over Justin Herbert this week? Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott.
I don't know if I'd go over Goff, but I'd probably consider him over Prescott and Herbert. He's got rushing upside that should keep his floor pretty stable. And if he finds the end zone in that regard, awesome. Then he's probably helping you win your week. The passing volume should be there. Tampa was terrible against the pass last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they lost Carlton Davis.
They invited shootouts all year, and Daniels is gonna have the rushing upside pretty much every week, I think. And if he just happens to get a good matchup, he could probably finish as a QB1 this week.
Okay, starting Daniels.
So with guys like Dak, Herbert, Lawrence, and Tua all facing their own adversities to get into that tier, I think there's a pathway for him to help you win this week.
Okay, so in Tampa, right, we got Rashad White, who's just PPR monster last year, just checked down City, right? But they got Bucky Irving, and I don't know if you saw today, Todd Bowles, he goes, Bucky Irving's in the gym every day at 5 a.m., and he's like the most dedicated player like he's ever seen. And he's like, Rashad White's going to start for us, but after that, who knows? So he opened the door for Bucky Irving. So first off, if Bucky Irving's available in your league, go pick him up right now. Right. Second, You're not starting Bucky Irving this week, though, right? We're starting White. Wait and see. Classic stash.
Yeah. White has his inefficiencies on the ground should scare fantasy managers that own him because, if Bucky Irving comes out and averages over 4.5 yards a clip on the ground in a few games, it'll be hard not to feature him as White will still have a role as a pass catching back no matter what. But there could easily be a world where Bucky Irving is just the top running back by, a month into the season if things really roll, if it is as stark as it could be. But, they've got Irving has all the coach speak in the world behind him now. It's just a matter of, doing something with the opportunities he gets.
It was a crazy thing to say. So yeah, I think I got Bucky in one league, no White. So I'm out on Tampa this year, kind of. Okay, now we get the Sunday nighter, game of the year, fireworks, Prop City. Hopefully we do a pod just for this game, right? We got Rams, Detroit, rematch of the playoffs. All right, we got Detroit's like 5-headed monster versus Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Everyone's on Detroit. I am on an island with the Rams because Stafford's my guy this year. I think he's going to pick that secondary apart. I don't think the rookies are ready yet, but I also think Goff at home Sunday night is ready. Aaron Donald. I think we're looking 38-35. Each QB's got 400 yards. Sam Laporta breaks every rookie second-year tight end record known to man, and it's the greatest game we've ever seen. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I love the Rams offense this year. I love Detroit's offense this year. I think it is so much more likely to break that way than anything else. Yeah, the Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua could easily just both be wide receiver ones this week. St. Brown too. You want pieces of this game. Like if you have somebody in this game, you're starting them. You want them on your roster. How deep would you go?
Blake Corum.
You're probably not starting. Yeah. Yeah, you probably wouldn't start Blake Corum. But both Lions running backs, I'm actually a little lower on Gibbs. I know they're saying he's full go, but it just wouldn't make sense to throw a full workload at him if it's because that hamstring injury. I think historically the re-injury is the risk of re-injury is up for the first 8 weeks of the season.
Okay.
He's
not going to get the carries anyway, so right? Carries are going to be probably 60-40 Montgomery, but that gives they're for all the passing downs and they'll target him heavy, right? It's going to be a kind of a weird 3D timeshare. But Jameson Williams, he's the guy, right? Blake Corum's below the line, but Jameson Williams, right? Are you finding a way to get him in? Are you starting him over Xavier Worthy, Khalil Shakir? What are we doing here?
He's overworthy for me, and I'd probably go him over Shakir just because of what the. I think that this game is a lot more likely to blow up than that game, and I think that Williams could have a crazy stat line, whereas Shakir is probably only going to get you at best 80 and a tug, but Williams has the profile to he could finish as a wide receiver one if he takes the lid off the defense and gets open for a big one on top of a few other immediate catches.
So let's say you had one prop bet to make in that game. What are you betting? We're gonna end on this.
Okay.
Take a second. It's a lot of props.
I'd probably do something with Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup's overs.
Okay.
That's not a knock to Nakua. I think that Cooper Cup is just a safer bet to be heavily involved in week 1.
Okay.
Um,
Not my boy Sam Laporta, who's on the covers of the Most Sales 200.
um,
Who I got in almost every
I,
league.
I like Laporta a lot too. He's the one elite tight end that I was making the exception for grabbing early
Yeah.
in drafts. Uh, yeah, he's just going to be a moneymaker in the red zone, especially in these high scoring affairs. There's just going to be so many chances for him to catch those grabs. The high value targets of this offense. Yeah,
I can't wait. I can't
he's gonna
wait.
smash
So,
this week.
all right, we're going to wrap up. So, we're going to be doing a Sunday morning show. We're going to do some more heavy start sits. Hopefully, we get a bunch of questions, talk more fantasy. Maybe we'll bring up, we'll get to recap the Thursday, Friday games. We'll see if the new kickoff rules have changed anything. Game's the same and the game doesn't change. And we're going to be talking the Monday nighter too, right? It's a great game, not really that fantasy great because the defenses are stacked. But we're going to probably talk more props for that Sunday night game because that is all I want to talk about. And we get to talk about what I want sometimes. But otherwise, Nathan, thank you for jumping in last minute. We had some technical difficulties like we always seem to have, but we are professionals and we made it work. Thanks, Andre, for helping out. Thanks for all the questions. What up, Chris? And Nathan, you want us to shout out any one last piece of fantasy wisdom you got for this weekend?
Yeah, Jalen Warren was just upgraded to a full participant in practice this week. Maybe dial back some of the Najee Harris expectations. It may be more split than we would have thought after the injury scare with Warren in preseason, but it's the same thing as Gibbs. Take it with a grain of salt. He could easily be eased back in despite getting a full practice log.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, Najee Warren, we should have talked about that. All right, Sunday we will talk Najee because those 50-50 running back splits, man. Nobody knows what to do. We don't have the answer, but we'll have a good guess. Okay, all right, we're out. All right, till next time. Thank you, NFL Fantasy Today show. We are out. End stream.